some nesting of loops. Now they give us a couple of constants. One is how many columns we're dealing with, and the other is how many rows. And by columns, 1, 2, 3 columns, so that's as far left to right as we go. And rows, we go 5 levels down. So we can use those to help navigate through each line, how far we go through each line. So let's start out with this first loop, and I'll go ahead and put my insertion point on line 9, and we'll create a for loop. And we'll say that for x is in range, and the range that I want is num down. So we're going to work our way right on down, and that'll be our first loop. And now we'll come down to our second loop, where we'll create this nesting of loops, and this will allow us to move left to right. For y in range, and that one we want to go across, so that'll be num across. Oops, just a little bit. There we go. So one allows us to go down through it, and the other allows us to move across. So as we're going along, what is it that we want to do? We want to set a condition to find out if we're going to print this asterisk. And the asterisk we're going to put in, we're going to say if x modulus 2 is equivalent to 0, we'll go ahead and print that. And let me make sure my spacing is the way that I want it to be, and it is. We'll come down the next conditional elif y is equivalent to 0. We'll print an asterisk. And then our last, we'll say else, just print a space. Now, if we run this, we end up with syntax errors and things just aren't the way they really ought to be. So let's make sure our spacing is what it should be. I'll bring this back, hit enter. I'm indented correctly. This print line, I want to make sure where that happens. And this print line, I want it to happen in line with the across. Every time we go across, when we're done going across, then we start a new line. So that indentation is critical. Let's go ahead and see what we do now. It says that I've still got a little issue. Line 13. I forgot my colon after my conditional. We'll go ahead and run it again. And they're there. There's 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Now, there's a little hurdle we've got to deal with. And it's just about the formatting. Let's put a comma after that string literal constant of the asterisk. We're going to type in end equals empty quotes. I'm going to take that little snippet of code, copy it, and paste it after each one of those print statements. Now if we run it, prints out the way we want it to print. That just helps us end what we're doing and not create a new line every time we come through. So we're inputting just one. If we go through and for whatever reason, if we moved this \n, if we did move that, indented it or backed it up, it would throw the whole thing off. So we've got to be careful about where we do what we do. Okay. So if we test it, it says that we're 3 out of 3. So we should be good to go on this one. So we've nested these for loops and set conditions within the internal loop. All right. Well, I'll see you in the next one.